The local vote also led to a legislative surprise. Election night resulted in something that no political party has been able to achieve in a few years. It's been called the mini blue wave in Minnesota, surprising several political experts. The DFL party will have complete control of state government for the first time since 2014. Minnesota Democrats beat the odds, getting big wins despite backlash against President Joe Biden. Republicans had hoped to win seats in key suburban races considered crucial to controlling the state legislature. But the DFL was able to hold onto the control of the House and flip the Senate. University of Minnesota political expert Larry Jacobs says the abortion issue hurt the GOP.
We thought maybe the abortion issue was fading in intensity, and it may have for the general population, but maybe 4 out of 10 voters went out. They were furious about the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe, and they saw the Democrats as their only hope.
Minnesota has a record-setting $12.1 billion surplus, and next year the DFL will decide how to spend those funds. Political expert Larry Jacobs says we can expect to see tax cuts for the middle class.
We're going to see more money going into education and healthcare. I think there's also going to be money going into public safety. This has been a core concern of Democrats in the legislature, and it didn't go anywhere.
And according to the Secretary of State's office, state voter turnout for Tuesday's election is estimated at 60.66%. The 2018 midterm was 64.25%. There's substantial change coming to the Robbinsdale City Council. Councilmember George Selman did not run for re-election in the 3rd Ward.
I hope that the citizens of Robbinsdale make this election and probably the next one a referendum on light rail.
That's what Selman told the council back in August. On Election Day, Robbinsdale voters elected council members who are pro-light rail. Aaron Warner says light rail is what prompted him to run, and he won with 56% of the vote over Pat Backen in Ward 4. Mia Parisian won with 65% of the vote over David Robbins in Ward 3.
I believe that the project is so far down the pipeline at this point that we really need to focus on the best way to make this project benefit our community in Robbinsdale. So the project is happening, but what my focus is going to be on is, maintaining safety and mobility, especially in our station area in Robbinsdale.
Also in Robbinsdale, voters voted in a special election primary race for Ward 1, which is the seat vacated by Tyler Klein. The top vote getters were Regan Murphy with 42% of the vote and Raymond Blackledge with 26% of the vote. The special election will be on February 14th. In New Hope, 2 incumbents will be returning to the council, John Elder and Jonathan London. Both easily won re-election, receiving 37% and 32% of the vote, respectively. The top issues brought forth during their campaigns were public safety and property taxes. New Hope City Council members are all elected at large, and they serve 4-year terms. Brooklyn Park Mayor-elect Hollis Winston is reflecting on his historic night, becoming the first black candidate to win that city's mayoral seat.
So it's historical in that we came saying we want to help those who are struggling. We didn't say 100% property taxes, right? We didn't say 100% crime. We said all of that is tied up in addressing these basic issues within our city. And so for me, it's historical in that we are finally addressing those key issues, right?
Winston ran on a campaign that made addressing the challenges facing the Huntington Place apartments and other complexes a central focus. He also challenged other leaders within the city.
Going forward, it's going to be less about speeches and it's going to be more about the work on the ground and building an actual coalition that can govern the city, because the city has not been governed. It just hasn't been governed. There has been no accountability. There is no vision.
Besides mayor, Brooklyn Park will also get 3 new council members and eventually a 4th. Because council member Susan Pa won a race for state senate, there will need to be a special election to fill the remaining 2 years on her term. Major improvements are slated for the Maple Grove Community Center thanks to Tuesday's election. As Delane Cleveland reports, voters in Maple Grove approved a sales tax increase to fund a renovation and expansion of the 25-year-old building.
I think that getting the local option sales tax is a great day for Maple Grove.
Every year, roughly 700,000 people from across the Twin Cities make their way to the Maple Grove Community Center for a variety of activities, whether it be on the ice, in the pool, or in the senior center. But after 25 years, any building will have some wear and tear.
It was starting to have some real structural issues.
Structural issues such as needing a new HVAC system and a new roof. But then there's also the growing needs of the community. Residents have asked for another sheet of ice, new swimming pools, and more space for seniors and other events. All of those changes would come with a price tag of $116 million. On Tuesday, by a comfortable margin, voters approved a half-cent sales tax increase to help fund $90 million of those improvements.
I expected it to pass. I think that when I talked with people in the public about the sales tax, they had some questions about it. There was some confusion about what it really meant. But I think once you explained it to them, they understood why it made a lot of financial sense for them to, say yes.
One reason it made sense is because the burden doesn't fall entirely on Maple Grove residents. Instead, anyone who shops in the city or eats at a restaurant will contribute to the fund.
It's good for our citizens that 55% are going to be paid for by other people and not by them. That's a nice split to occur.
In Maple Grove, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Work on the community center likely will not begin until 2024. There's also no word yet on when the tax will officially go into effect. Meanwhile, the city also hopes to get another $18 million in state bonding dollars to help with the project.
Wednesday marked one of the NCAA's National Letter of Intent Days for high school seniors headed to college on scholarship for athletics. John Jacobson visited a couple of school ceremonies.
Two of our area schools hosted big signing ceremonies early Wednesday. At Wayzata High School, 14 student athletes signed, including 4 in various sports at the University of Minnesota. Baseball, basketball, cross country, soccer, softball, swimming, tennis, and track and field are the sports represented by these students. Over at Maple Grove High School, 12 seniors, all girls, signed their NLIs, 4 in soccer, plus basketball, hockey, lacrosse, softball, and track and field. CCX talked to 4 of these athletes about the day and about their college choices.
I feel just very blessed to have this opportunity, and I'm super grateful to be able to do it alongside 3 of my teammates. It's kind of like a dream come true. I've been dreaming of this moment since I got to watch my teammates sign when I was a freshman.
I really appreciate the coaches giving me an opportunity to play at the next level. Having the next steps kind of planned out is very important because I think it builds something where I can see myself in the future. I can go to these matches and I can really see myself as a college athlete now.
I just think Notre Dame has a really great balance between athletics and academics, and I really like the girls on the team there. I got to spend a lot of time with them, and they're just kind people, they're smart, they're hard workers, they're who I want to be with and what I want to be like. So just to surround myself with those people.
I love the big sports atmosphere at Penn State. I knew I wanted to go to a school where there was a football team and basketball and all the sports that I could get away from hockey to and watch other people perform. And then the team atmosphere that the coaches have created at Penn State is incredible.
Watch for a story on Armstrong's signing ceremony on our website, ccxmedia.org. The Maple Grove football team looks to continue its playoff run when the Crimson kick off the state playoffs on what looks to be a sub-freezing Friday night. John Jacobson has more.
It's a cold and now wet week of football practice for the Maple Grove Crimson, but they are still practicing.
Yeah, nothing better than a November cold. It's fun to be out here this last week and give the kids another chance to play and be out here. So it's funny. Every week you get, it's just kind of borrowed time that you just enjoy being with these kids.
Maple Grove improved to 10-0 on the season with a 54-21 win over Forest Lake in last week's section final.
It was a super fun game. I guess our defense didn't spend as much time on the field as we normally do, but just because of our domination on special teams that week. But it was definitely fun. We played well.
it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but like when we had to jump on moments, we did a really good job, which is what playoff football is about. And I thought I was really proud how they handled those kind of momentum moments and how we took advantage of it.
The Crimson are now in the state playoffs for a second straight season. They face an Eastridge team they eliminated in the section final a year ago, a team that comes into this game with a 7-3 record.
Their quarterback's the real deal. He's thrown for about 3,000 yards, and then they run the ball well enough that they make you respect it, and then they got some good receivers that are explosive outside. So they're a good offense, and then defensively they kind of just play tight to the line of scrimmage and challenge it, and so they're a challenge on each side.
The forecast for Friday's state quarterfinal round game in Chanhassen is for 31 degrees and a steady breeze. That doesn't seem to faze the Crimson.
The weather's not going to be in our favor, but it's not going to be in their favor either, so we just have to use it to our best ability. It is really fun to play football in November. I just love playoffs.
I tend not to think about it and just stick to my normal routines. I pretty much wear the same thing for every game, no matter the weather, and just kind of gut through it. And if I ignore the weather will ignore me. So.
In Maple Grove, John Jacobson, CCX Sports.
We'll have a story on Armstrong football in the Class 5A playoffs later this week on CCX. That's all for sports. I'm Jay Wilcox.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.